For the past, 20 years, we've all thought of a business website as a kind of digital storefront. Simple enough, right? Well, what if I told you that entire concept is being completely torn down and rebuilt from the ground up by generative AI? We really need to get into this because by 2030, your web presence is going to look nothing like it does today. So here's how we're going to break down this huge shift. First, we'll talk about why that old model is fading out. Then we'll get into the 5 specific AI forces that are driving all this change. We'll also look at the brand new role of your digital address, lay out a real, actionable playbook, and then wrap up with a look at a future that's all about trust. All right, first up, the fading digital storefront. We have to start with the why, because if you want to know where we're all headed, you first got to understand why the ground is literally shifting right under our feet. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and ask the big question, the one that probably makes a lot of us a little nervous. Is the traditional website, is it becoming obsolete? Now, the answer isn't a simple yes or no, but its entire reason for being is absolutely changing. This slide right here, this really gets to the absolute heart of the matter. For decades, the web was all about us doing the work, right? We'd browse, we'd scroll, we'd click around trying to find what we needed. The new way, it just flips that whole script. It's all about conversation. You just ask a question, and an AI agent gives you the answer directly. It completely sidesteps that old click-by-click journey. So for the last 2 decades, our websites were built on these 4 big pillars. You get discovered through search engines, you build trust with your domain name, you funnel people toward a sale, and you capture data. But what's the one thing all of these have in common? Every single one of them depends on a human being physically clicking and browsing your site. And that foundation, that's what's starting to crumble. Okay, so if that's the why, then what's actually doing the disrupting? That brings us right to our next section, the 5 forces of change. This is where we look at the specific technologies that are fueling this digital revolution. These 5 forces are what you absolutely need to have on your radar. First, you've got AI answer engines that just summarize the web for you. Second, those embedded chatbots that are becoming the main way we interact with sites. Third, AI site builders. They're making web creation accessible to everyone. Fourth is voice and multimodal search, making everything screen optional. And number 5, agent-based browsers, which are basically AI assistants that can do the browsing for you. Let's dig into the impact of a few of these. Let's start with the one that's hitting us right now, AI answer engines. We're talking about things like Google's AI overviews that just give you the answer right there in the search results. And the impact is, it's staggering. We're looking at a projected 25% drop in traditional search traffic by 2026. Why? Because people are getting their answers without ever having to click on your website. And look at this. This chart really shows you the damage. When one of those AI summaries pops up at the top of a search result, the click-through rate to actual websites gets slashed in half. The AI is basically intercepting your customer before they can even get to your digital front door. Okay, the second force, AI site builders. These things are exploding. North America is leading the pack, grabbing over 40% of the market. And this isn't some tiny niche trend. This is a fundamental change in how a web presence even gets made. And it's all driven by speed and making it easy for everyone. And here's exactly why they're taking over. They're cutting the time it takes to build a site from weeks down to just a few hours. And get this. They're slashing development costs by up to 90%. This just blows the doors wide open, letting anyone spin up a professional-looking site in no time. Then there's the big move away from screens. Voice search isn't just a gimmick anymore. For a lot of people, it's their go-to interface. We're talking over 125 million people using it every year, and smart speakers are going to be in pretty much every home soon. That means brands are being found and talked to, not just looked at. So, all this change leads to a really fascinating, kind of unexpected consequence. Let's talk about the new digital address and how your domain name is shifting from just being a place people go to being a critical signal of trust in this new AI world. Just look at these numbers for the AI domain. The growth isn't just big, it's a massive leap. We went from about 250,000 registrations in mid-2023, and we're projected to hit over 6 million by early 2025. This is a flat-out gold rush to claim a digital identity that screams innovation. So what this all means is your choice of domain is now a huge strategic signal. A classic .com might signal that you've been around for a while, but a .ai domain immediately tells the world you're about innovation and credibility. And of course, those country code domains like .d in Germany or .cn in China are still super important for building that local trust. Okay, so we've covered the why and the what. Now we get to the most important part, the how. This is your strategic AI playbook. Clear, actionable steps you can actually take to adapt and come out on top. Look, this can't be a siloed effort. Everyone's got to be involved. For discoverability, your marketing team needs to get obsessed with structured data so AI engines can actually understand your stuff. For conversion, it's about putting AI chatbots front and center and designing for voice. And for your IT and legal folks, it's time to audit that domain portfolio and get way ahead of the curve on compliance and data privacy. You know, one of the biggest opportunities out there is making voice checkout easy and secure. But no single company can pull this off alone. It's going to take a real partnership framework. Getting banks and retailers together to set some standards, creating some kind of trusted checkout seal of approval, and then rolling it out with big partners to build that scale and trust with shoppers. Okay, let's bring it all home and look to the horizon. We're talking about a future built on trust and the absolutely critical role your brand is going to play in this age of AI. If there's one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. By 2030, your website as you know it, that multi-page brochure for humans, is basically going to be a back-end knowledge base. It won't be a destination people visit so much as a structured, verified engine that feeds clean, accurate information to AIs, to voice assistants, and to chatbots. And this quote just nails the new job of your domain. It's not going anywhere. In fact, it's becoming more critical than ever. Think about it. In a world flooded with AI-generated answers, your branded domain becomes that beacon of trust. It's the anchor that proves your data is the real deal, that it's authentic and reliable. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to chew on for your own strategy. As we head into this completely new era, you have to decide, is your digital presence just a pretty brochure for people to look at? Or are you building an engine for intelligence that's going to power the future of how people find things? The choice you make now is what will define your success for the next decade.